Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Bobcats Coaches Show here live from Crossroads Social House in Wytheville alongside head coach Wytheville and our player guest tonight, assistant captain Mike Mercurio. I'm Brett Wiseman. Zemi, we'll get right into it here. Of course, a disappointing weekend for you guys, but certainly some positives both nights I think to take away if you kind of want to recap things.
Yeah, it's important to find the positives. Sometimes it's harder than the other times, but I think that positive, one of the big positives, what has been pretty consistent has been power plays. For us, we're 24% at the top of the league. So I think that's been positive for sure for us.
Yeah, and as you said, at the tops of the league, and that's a first in the history of this franchise. You and I have been over it over the last couple of years of how to get to that point. And it's been a lot of hard work from you and the rest of the coaching staff. But I think special teams overall, but specifically the power play, probably the best spot it's ever been.
Yeah, definitely the best power play we've experienced here, and again consistent. Um, I think big part of it is the players we have on the team. With growing the roles with some of the experience and just playing together. Really finding the chemistry and getting on the same page. And I think it's been getting better. I think there's still room to improve for us, but it's definitely no matter we put the first or second power play on the ace, they've been scoring. So hopefully we can keep that going forward.
Yeah, Mike, your unit specifically, go out there and you get a big first goal Friday. By the way, Danny's got one more to 100. You found him on that pass right there, and as we've said with a lot of different teams, it felt like Danbury's penalty kill structurally. There were some things that you guys felt like that there were some ways to exploit with some seam passes and things like that, and able to create some space there below the goal line and find Danny there in the high slot, and you did the rest.
Yeah, pretty much. I think as we've gone on a little bit, we're starting to figure out each other's tendencies more, and that definitely makes things easier. So.
Yeah, and as we said, of course, if there wasn't enough reason to come out this weekend, Danny's one goal away from 100, so who wouldn't want to be in attendance for that? But yeah, Mike, as we talked about with Heitzy going into the weekend last weekend, it was an important weekend, divisional weekend, but that's a place that you and Heitzy and a few others had played plenty of times, and at the end of the day, I think results being what they are, disappointing, but to get the experience to go in there and be able to notch a couple of those games under your belt in an environment like that, I think overall was good.
Yeah, potentially. I guess time will tell. It's a fun building to play in. It's definitely an experience. So, yeah, time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't seem like, as we touched on, it didn't seem like the guys let anything, get to them, what was going on behind them, that kind of deal. But it just seemed like one of those weekends where, the opponent seemed to have a response, every time you guys were able to gain a little bit of momentum, especially on Friday, it seemed like Danbury was able to have a response.
Yeah, it's a definitely interesting place to play in. The fan base is very loud, right behind your bench, so it can become a distraction. But the guys did a pretty good job being composed and not worried about it. When it comes to that game, we all know that there's things would have to get way better than what we shown this past weekend. But there's been some good moments too. I think their goaltender stood on their head. I think made some huge saves, and we made some big mistakes at the bad times of the game, and that's kind of what happened there through the whole weekend.
Yeah, I think Friday especially, you could point to a few mistakes here defensively here and there. It ended up being a 3-goal game, and really it was 3 really critical mistakes that led to those 3 goals, ended up being the difference in that game.
Correct. They have a good group of the forwards, and they work hard. They compete. They compete very hard, and they forecheck was very tenacious, and then we struggle getting out of the zone, and that led to a couple of the turnovers at times. But it's been more like the game was up and down. It wasn't controlled from our side. It was more like a running gun hockey, and it was odd man rush for odd man rush, not necessarily our style of the game. We want to be more composed with the puck, be more controlled. But um, like I said, there's been some defensively big breakdowns, and yeah.
Yeah, Mike, and I think the big positive from over the weekend overall is the way that you guys responded to things on Saturday. You came in, as Zemi said, Friday it was more their style than your style. I think for the majority of the game Saturday, it was the way you guys wanted to play. You guys were able to adapt to things, but sometimes in this sport you just run into a hot goalie, and that's pretty much what happened Saturday.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty accurate. I thought most of the game we looked pretty good. We played our way, but yeah, we lost that maybe a little bit towards the end, and yeah, like you said, credit to them. Their goalie was he stood on his head, so good for him.
Yeah, he made a ton of terrific saves, Emmy, but you guys kept working Saturday, and I think that's the big positive to take forward here is the way that you guys were able to respond. You were able to correct a lot of those mistakes Friday into Saturday, take away their time and space a lot better through the neutral zone. I felt like the gap control was a lot better Saturday. It's a team that loves to play fast, as you said, and when you can make it difficult on them physically and kind of grind it out in the corners, that's the kind of game you want to play against a team like that that's built on speed, right?
Yeah, it was definitely a better game, better effort from us on Saturday, but the same result, right? I think the second period of the game was our best period all weekend long. We outshot them, we outscored them, but then we came out flat at the start of the period in the third, and we're still able to be in the game, but then towards the end, like Mike mentioned, last few minutes of the game, we made unnecessary decisions, and that ended up in back of our net.
Yeah, Mike, and in a game that's as tight as that one, those are the kind of things that it sucks in the moment, but you circle it, you learn from it, and you move on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all you can do. It's a long season, so obviously it's a results business, and we need to worry about the results. But the focus, really is on the process at the end of the day. So there's, like Tommy said, there's a lot of positives we could take from it. So
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head right there. I don't think anybody's really hitting the panic button. After a weekend like that, you go into a tough environment, a tough team, some long travel. Nobody's making excuses, but the good news is you come back home this weekend, and there's still a lot of time left in the season, and you're in the middle part of this long divisional gauntlet. There's 3 games this weekend. There's 9 points at stake that come tiebreaker time are going to count double. So I'm sure the focus for you guys, in the room is to make sure that everything's buttoned up tight and ready to go for this weekend.
yeah, absolutely. We're just ready to take it one shift at a time, and I think everyone's really excited to be back at home.
Yeah, I think for the most part, everyone, players down to me, of course, is really glad to be at home because that was a long ride. But Zemi, as we said, this is a divisional gauntlet portion of the schedule that started, with Indiana and continues now through Danbury, and now you face Watertown for the first time this year. Mike's former team did have a roster move made yesterday. Another former Watertown Wolf coming in, former Carolina Thunderbird as well. So tell us a little bit about the big man, Andre Simonchik.
Well, we reacted to Dennis being injured. We felt like we need a big body on the back end. We need to be a little bit more aggressive, around our net in the corners in the D zone. For the reason we decided to bring Andre, who plays the kind of a game. He has some experience from the SPHL level as well this season. So I think him coming to us and playing against his former team will, give him the chip on the shoulder, and I think it's going to be a good addition to us.
Yeah, Mike, of course, he's got some experience in this league, but not every day does a guy that's 6'5", 235 become available, and I think that's a huge boost for you guys to get that kind of size and grit on the back end.
Yeah, absolutely. I've known Andre for a long time. Skated with him in the summer and stuff. He's got a really great shot, heavy shot, very physical, and he's a great guy. So we're really happy to have him.
Yeah, of course, you guys played against him last year when he was with Carolina and saw quite a bit of him. So, 6'5", 235 goes without saying. It feels a lot better when that guy's wearing your sweater as opposed to the opponent's sweater, right?
For sure.
Yeah, well, so we'll see what Andre can do this weekend against his former team. Of course, Mike and Kyle playing against their former teams as well. Mike, and I want to kind of get your thoughts on coming into this season. We had Kyle on last weekend. You guys almost seem like you're joined at the hip. Whether you're on the ice, off the ice, it's this kind of unspoken bond and chemistry that you guys have. So, talk about how terrific it is to have him on your side of things and how well you guys are able to click out there on the ice.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. It's not every day to have a friend like Kyle or play with a player like him. So, yeah, I'm very grateful to be buddies with him and, to be playing with him on a third team now. So.
Yeah, and he told us this over the summer. It feels like you guys kind of follow each other around. You guys were competing for the same spot in Quad City a few years ago, and the journey that both of you have been on in your careers has led you here. And I think I speak for everyone when I say I think you're both in the right spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you would have told us that any of this a few years ago in Quad City, we probably would have been pretty surprised. But it's cool to see. Like I said, he's a great guy, so definitely very grateful for him.
Of course, you're coming back for your first full year here with the Bobcats. So let's kind of take it back to over the summer. What kind of the conversations were like, and coming through training camp, you're named a member of the leadership group, and just talk about how things have kind of transitioned and built here in your second full year here with the Bobcats.
Yeah, no, it's been good. We stayed in touch a good amount in the summer, and talked to a good amount of the boys, and just I loved being here last year when I was here almost every game. I think I played 2 road games. I think everyone else was at home, so fell in love with playing in the building, and just was really excited to get back here. So.
Yeah, and again, you were named a part of the leadership group coming into the season, and that's of course a huge bonus for you. So talk about what the conversations were like leading up to that, and how you've kind of embraced that role this year.
Yeah, no, it was just an honor always, for sure. But just happy to be thought of in that way, and I was brought in here last year with that idea with leadership without a letter, anyways. So nothing changed too much, but like I said, to get that recognition, always cool.
Yeah, it's always an honor, I'm sure, to have a letter on your sweater. But, I think this is a roster that, it doesn't necessarily matter who does or doesn't. Everyone kind of leads by example, and I think that's one of the things about the culture that you guys have built that makes this such a special place to play, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Got a lot of leaders in the room. Everyone's a leader, so like you said, guys leading by example all over. So that's all you can ask for.
Yes, Emmy, it's it had to be a huge boost for you guys to know you were bringing back a core piece like Mike, and being able to officially slide him into the leadership group. I'm sure was a huge added bonus. And just talk about as the summer went on and going through training camp, and the confidence that you have in Mike to be able to give him that honor.
It was definitely one of the very important moves for us to be able to resign Mike and bring him back, because I think when he came in, he brought a voice with him in the room and on the ice, and that's something we didn't have enough of that, and then for the reason why we considered different options and kind of seeing how the roster is gonna shape up, knowing that Mike's gonna come back, there wasn't a doubt about him being the guy who's gonna be the addition to the leadership group. And every leader in the leadership group has got a different role. Mike is the voice, and he's the guy who competes on the ice and holds everybody accountable, and himself, obviously. But that's a big part of his role, and then with that, the experience playing on the championship team, himself and Danny, prior to playing here, that's something very valuable to have in the room.
Yeah, you won a championship with the team that's coming in here this weekend. So before we get into the fun middle portion of the show, tell us how fun it's going to be to play against those guys again this weekend.
Yeah, it'll definitely be fun. It'll be weird. I've never done it before. First time playing against them. It's not like many guys are left from, even last year me playing there, but Still, the coach, I played with Coachman, and, know a lot of guys there still, so it'll definitely be fun, but it's just another weekend.
I think I'm most upset that Jeff Barrett will not be making the trip because Jeff's just abusive. If I could get on Bruce with Barrett just one time in my entire life, I think I'd be happy. But I don't know if you watched last week's show with Kyle, but we went with some rapid fire team related questions.
All right.
So we're going to give you the same treatment. Kyle had a really fantastic answer to the last question, but we'll save that one. So first off, funniest guy on the team.
Funniest guy? Man, that's a tough one. There's a lot of funny guys. I'm gonna say Damon or Danny.
Damon seems to have some definite comedic talents. I mean, you are free to chime in on any of these at any point in time if you'd like, but.
I'm not around as much in the room. I try not to be, so it surprised me sometimes to hear these opinions here too.
Kyle said that you had the best celebrity impression on the team. So
No,
who in your mind has the best celebrity impression?
that's not even a question. It's Vero. Vero for every impression.
See, that was my answer last week.
Yeah,
so,
It's no. I'm not. It's not me. It's Vero. Like I said, no. I don't know what heights he was just saying that. He's messing around.
When we get Vero on here, we'll have to get him to do the Patrick Warburton impression because I legitimately thought that Kronk was next to me the whole time. And I was just waiting on David Spade to come out in an Emperor's outfit. That was the next step. But great, we're going to get a cease and desist from Disney now. But no, Kyle said that your impression of Adam Sandler in, I don't know, it was.
Yes. Yeah. I know what he's talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So we don't get a cease and desist from Adam Sandler. But question 3: biggest video gamer on the team?
Oh, biggest gamer. There's a lot of guys that game. I might say Kyle for that one. He plays a lot of Call of Duty.
See, he deflected and said Danny and Mario Strikers was lethal.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, we have quite a few battles, me and Danny, on Strikers. So.
I gotta see this. Wait till we bring the racing simulator. Really have some fun. Question 4: who is the biggest eater on the team?
Oh, that's a good question too. I think I'm gonna go with Robin on that one. That guy can
That's
eat.
2 weeks in a row that we've gone with Robin.
Really? I didn't even. Yeah, I had no idea. Yeah.
So the part 2 to that question is if you had to pick between Robin and anyone else on the roster, who could speed eat a basket of chicken wings in under 15 minutes?
I bet Rels could too. Rels can eat. He's fast with it too. Yeah. We'll go with Rels.
He's fast. What else do you want?
Yeah.
Question. This is the last one, I promise, but these are fun. If you were stuck with anyone on the roster in a zombie apocalypse, who would it be?
I would say I'd have to go with Danny on that one, just because I think he'd know his way out pretty well, and I think we'd be pretty well protected, stocked up with ammo.
What we determined last week was that, so Kyle picked you because you two are brothers and you'd figure it out. But
Yeah.
the conclusion we came to was that you would be so mad that the zombie apocalypse was happening in general that you would just go ham on anyone and anything in front of you. But I think Danny would use his smarts from seeing without a paddle 27 times to figure out his way through the woods.
Absolutely, yeah. And like I said, we'd be stocked up with ammo and all that, no doubt, with Danny, so we'd be well prepared.
He would no doubt have things figured out there. I mean, again, at any point in time, you can chime in during this segment.
Okay.
But he's playing it safe. We asked him last week if he would rather be stuck in a zombie apocalypse with Ryan or Devin, and he said Ryan.
Yeah.
So I don't know how Devin felt about that, but Devin will be fine.
He probably understood.
He has his moments.
Yeah.
Speaking of composed themselves on the bench this weekend, I thought Devin did quite well. I was a little bit concerned going into the weekend, but he's been in enough unfriendly buildings to have it figured out. So, by the way, shout out to Ryan. Who got some terrific content with his video glasses. So we'll be digging through that and with the the time to come here. But let's move on to this weekend. As we said, Mike, this is your former team. That's a lot has changed, including the logo and the uniforms. Um, but it's been quite a journey, you know, from the last time they visited at the end of the year 2 years ago when you were on that roster to now. So you know what have kind of what have you seen from them over the course of the last since you came here from there, and what kind of team are they going to be bringing into the building this weekend?
I'm honestly not sure. I know like last year, still had a lot of buddies that stayed there in the second half, and talk to them every so often. But to be completely honest, haven't been keeping too close of an eye on them. I know they brought back. I've heard they brought back Brent Clark, who I played for there. Obviously, I have a lot of respect for. But aside from that, I haven't really heard much.
Yeah, as you said, it's been a bit of a changing roster, but I did want to get your thoughts on this. The first time you came into this building was as a member of that team at the end of the year 2 years ago. We still had the temporary seating, yada yada. This is kind of a full circle moment for you, right?
Yeah, a little bit. It's pretty crazy. Like I remember, yeah, that was a crazy weekend. We came in, we really needed to win both games, and we ended up getting lucky. I think Elmira lost or went to overtime or something and got us into the playoffs. But yeah, no, definitely full circle. It's amazing just to see where the building's at now. To be completely honest with you.
Yeah, if you would have come into this building now, having not seen what it looked like then, I don't think anyone would have believed that that's what it looked like then, because now it looks truly like a hockey arena.
Absolutely, yeah. But I do remember still like the fans, and it was a fun building to play in. Absolutely, so.
Yeah, then that was the final weekend of the regular season that year, Zemi, and it's been a bit of a journey for you and the rest of the guys that have been here since being in that room at the end of that year. And we've talked about it ad nauseum almost, what the feeling was like, and it's almost kind of like a full circle weekend to their first visit back here to see how far this team and this franchise has come since that weekend back in April of 23.
Yeah, the franchise came a far from that point on. With so many brigades at the rink, the fan base is growing, us as a team, as an organization. Definitely, you can compare it to what it was 2 years ago, right? From the year one to the year two, that was a big success. Now in this year, we're still looking to be even more successful than we were last year, and I think we're on the track.
Yeah, I think you guys are on the right track. As we said, nobody's going to sit here and press the panic button. I mean, it's a long season, and we're not even to Christmas yet, so there's still plenty of time to make up some ground. And this is an Empire division, Mike, that as we've seen, 3 through 5 have Watertown's kind of been in that sixth spot, and it's been you, Danbury, and Topeka that have kind of been playing shoots and ladders with each other. So, I think a big point of emphasis this weekend is to make sure the foot's on the gas and to try and get some distance between you guys and Watertown. Because as we know, not only are the points going to come into play tiebreaker time, those head-to-head wins matter too.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think we will hopefully be able to do that, and but we just got to take it one shift at a time.
And it's going to be, this is the type of team, Zemi, that is going to try and muck and grind things out. It's a team that's played a pretty difficult schedule to this point. I think it's much like Indiana in terms of they've got a lot of talent, but the record does not indicate the type of players that they have and how difficult a style of play that they have to play against.
Yeah, they're a younger team and they work very hard. Their game is based on their forecheck. They go hard at you, come at you. They have a bigger D core. I think with the quality goaltending and with a couple guys they brought in back from the SPHL, well, the lineup's gonna look definitely different. They got one line of Russian players and they've been pretty good. Their stats, they had good stats this season and productive, but they also bring the energy. So the team seems like they're bought in together and they make it hard to play against. I watched them to play against Indiana. I think Indiana's been getting much better, but it was very evenly matched weekend. They split the weekend, and you could tell there is um, the D-man who came back makes definitely difference for them on the back end. I think that's where they struggle a little bit. That they filled that hole, and now I think they have Grasby coming back, and that's again another player who played there with Mark in the past and has been outstanding player for them last season. So he'll help them out as well. But again, it's coming back to us. I think we're getting away from our game and from what we've been known for, and that's just competing hard, being physical team. We've been more trying to play with our talent than just out competing teams, and that's why we're where we are right now. So I think this weekend needs to be we need to go back on the track of competing hard and out competing teams, and then if we have the talent and we execute in those situations, we win those games. But I think it all starts again from just getting back to the grind and work and work and work until we get out of that slump.
Yeah, Mike, I think Zemi hit the nail on the head right there with, it's something that's been talked a lot about amongst you guys. Of course, you guys are frustrated. You guys want to go out there and win, but there's a process in terms of trying to figure things out, and it's been talked about of okay, how do we get back to where we were the first couple of weekends? How do we find that mix of, like Zemi said, the compete, the effort level? How do we mix that with the skill? Because as we've seen, it can be a detriment to have more of one thing than the other, rather than mixing the two, right?
Yeah, I think you work hard and play the right way, and then the skill kind of comes out, rather than just expecting to show up and be able to outskill teams and stuff like that. So, I mean, you don't have to really overthink it. It's sports. They're all kind of the same. You gotta compete. Whoever competes harder usually wins.
And I think that's another point too. When you go through stretches like this that are kind of roller coaster up and down, you can start to overthink things at certain points of games. And I think and another point of emphasis for you guys, I'm sure in the room, is to make sure that you just keep things simple. Don't think too much about them, and let the game come to you. Right?
Yeah, absolutely, and have fun. I mean, you can't really forget that part. Tough stretch, obviously. Indiana was a tough weekend too, just in terms of and I'm sure every other team they have to deal with it going there, but it's the cold community rink and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, back-to-back weekends in like Arctic rinks, essentially. A first for me was seeing guys with hoodies underneath their gear for morning skate, and when we got into Danbury on Friday. So that was interesting. Shout out to Paul, our sub-in bus driver who got us to Danbury and back safely. So Paul did a tremendous job for us, getting us there and back safely. But we'll be glad to have Philip back with us, hopefully next weekend. Hope Philip and his wife are doing well and hanging in there, and we hope that Philip will be back with us for the 10+ hour trek to Port Huron next weekend. But back to this weekend, guys, there's business to attend to, Zemi, and as we said with Mike, I think big point of emphasis has got to be to keep things simple, and there are times where I've heard you say it. You can start to grip the stick a little bit too hard. You can overthink things a little bit. I think kind of getting back to the basics and the simplicity of things, and letting the skill come out rather than trying to force it and make it happen, I think is a big bullet point going into the weekend.
Yeah, I don't mind what you said before. It's sometimes you need a reset, and I think the guys had a reset now at the start of the week, and going in the 3 game weekend, the importance is like the first game is everything for us. The first period, we to compete at that physicality, what we have not been doing, has to be there. We want to make that team to feel it, to play that first period and not wanting to play us on Saturday and Sunday, right? So that's what it's the first game about, right? If we're gonna show them in the start of the game that they can play against us, they can hang in there. It's gonna be a hard weekend for us. So it's all gonna be about the first period of that 3 game matchup.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I'll turn back to Friday quickly. The start Friday I felt was was really, really good. You know, you talked about how important the first 5 minutes were going to be Friday, and then things kind of slid down. But it's a matter of getting off to that good start, not giving the opponent any confidence, and keeping that on a more linear track going forward through the remainder of that 60 minutes.
Yeah, you got to do things consistently, right, to be successful. But it's not just about getting on the board, but the shift after you score a goal. That's a big shift, and that's something where we're lacking at the times. We score a goal, we get scored on, or we score a goal, then we go on the PK, or we give them a little bit of momentum. I think that's what kind of holds us back. We score a goal, we need to come out with the energy. We need to be again back in their face, physical, getting pucks deep, and not just being fancy at the times with the puck and getting stuck in the D zone. So I think that's definitely area of the games. Playing with the lead, understanding what it is to play with the lead, and next shift mentality after we score a goal, or after any big moment in the game.
Yeah, it's been talked about by so many in the sport, Mike, of how momentum based hockey is, and we've seen it. We saw it over the weekend as well. As we said before, every time you guys got a little bit of momentum, Danbury had a response. I think the movement going forward here is when you're able to get that little bit of momentum, it's grabbing it and it's keeping the pedal to the floor, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and credit to them. Like they're well coached and they're well led. Johnny Ruiz has played in the league a long time. He's a good player. He knows what he's doing. Even he'll get you in different ways. Maybe physically he's not as fast anymore, things like that. But he's smart. He does a good job leading those guys. So yeah, it's a big part of it is the momentum.
You can really draw a lot of parallels between, a guy like him that's been in the league for a while, the way he leads, and a guy like Danny, the way he leads out there. A guy that's had a ton of experience in this league is coming up on a milestone marker. Hopefully, will come this weekend. But I think you can draw a lot of parallels between those two guys and the way they conduct themselves and the way they lead their teams, right?
Yeah, I mean they both had longevity and played on some really good teams. I don't really know Johnny too well, but obviously know Danny, and I've played against Ruiz quite a bit. Played against Danny before, decent amount. So yeah, I'd say some similarities there. Yeah, definitely.
And as we said, Zemi, this is a leadership group that Mike's a part of. That at times like this, during the course of a season, a lot can fall on their shoulders. But I think everyone's pulling their same end of the rope on trying to get this thing figured out, right?
Definitely, there's frustration, right? There's gonna be a frustration, and when you're in the situation like this now, how do we turn that frustration in something to fuel us, in going in the practices and the way we show up day to day, and again, they understand that we all need to be better from myself down through the leadership all the way to the players. We all have to find ways to be better than we were to this point, and figure out what we've been doing wrong or what we've been preaching wrong, and not being on the same page. And I think we have found the reasons. And I think this week's been big, just in the last couple of days to kind of get back on the track, and a big part of it was, like I said, just you can't expect to practice this a certain way and then play a different way, right? We want to make sure that our practices and we competing harder in the practice against each other, so it's easier for us to play the game. And if the guys, we can get them competing against each other as hard as they've been competing last 2 days, there's no excuse for us not competing against the opponent that hard. And then just out-competing teams will win 70% of the games, right? Then execution still have to be there, but it all starts with the work ethic. And I think we're, like I said, back on the track. And now we gotta do it again, do it, night in, night out. So it becomes that second nature, because that's what I feel was the most inconsistent from us this season. Not necessarily just the results, but that part of the game.
Yeah, it is a 3-game weekend, the first 3-game weekend of the season. Good energy at practice today, but it's important to keep that kind of energy going forward and make sure that while you are having that compete, everybody's taking care of their bodies before, during, and after practice for for the longest weekend yet of the season.
Yeah, the guys are pros. They know what to do, and they've learned that too. Like it's around this time of the season, the guys start getting their hips a little bit tighter. There's some injuries, from the weekends like this. Now being on the road, that makes it much tougher on your body too. So, it is important to take care of your body's your tool, and the way you take care of it, the way it's gonna work for you. So. We've talked about it. They have Josh helping them, our trainer, and the guys are doing a good job at it. So
Yeah, Mike, it felt like today the energy was palpable. Throughout practice, you got that sense. That the compete level was there that Zemi talked about. But at the end of the day, everyone felt like they were in good spirits, having fun out there. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's about coming to the rink every day, not only ready to get to work, but ready to go out there and have fun with 20 plus of your best friends, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the biggest key. It's hard if you're not having fun doing it. So it's always good to have get back on track, like Demi said, and get back to doing what we're supposed to and having fun again.
I'm going to pose you guys this question. You don't have to answer it. You can't answer yourself. You can answer yourself for this question. Who's your pick for Teddy Bear Goal Saturday?
Teddy Bear Goal Saturday. I'm gonna say Phil. He's been ringing a lot of iron recently. It's been kind of crazy. So he's got such a great shot. I feel like Phil's gonna get one. He's gonna get one in the first period.
Yeah, you remember I believe it was the second power play, or the power play right after you and Danny teamed up there Friday night was you had that wrist shot from the point that just, maybe a couple of inches off the iron. So do factor, I think. Zemi, of course you would say anyone on the roster would be the technical coach answer, but if you had to put money on a guy right now, who would it be?
I think it's gonna be Stux. I think he's been doing one. He's been working hard, and I think he's ready for that.
As the media guy, I'm going to come up with if Hollywood wrote this script, it would be too good, so they throw it out. I think Danny's going to get his 100th goal in the FPHL, and that will launch the plethora of plushies onto the ice. I can't remember what the number was last year, but it was a terrific number of stuffed animals that were donated. Of course, same thing this year. They'll go to Mount Rogers Community Services, and Mike, you being from New York, the Hershey Bears are usually the poster child for the teddy bear toss, but I think it's something that every player this time of year really looks forward to and loves playing in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say it's always I've played in a few teddy bear toss games, but it's definitely more fun when you're the home team. You get that first goal and cleaning it up and all that stuff. But it's always definitely always fun to play in that game.
I've called a few. The weirdest one was our first year's Emmy. Was in Baton Rouge. On Baton Rouge's teddy bear toss night when it was a shutout. And they wait. It's always odd when a team gets shut out because they don't know when to throw it or if they throw them at all. And then Baton Rouge just decided, okay, game's over, we'll just throw them. That was weird. So I think, really, mentality, please don't get shut out on teddy bear toss night so that we don't have to clean them all up at the end of the night or however we're going to decide. Don't make it awkward, okay? Somebody just take care of it in the first 2 or 3 shifts. We'll get it figured out from there. Also, Zemi, are you going to be wearing an ugly sweater on the bench?
I may.
Oh. I like this. If you wear an ugly sweater, you get $2 off your ticket. Everybody got that? Okay. And yes, a sweater of the opponent does count as an ugly sweater. Any of the other teams in the league. If you have any other team's jersey, that does count as an ugly sweater. Trevor's going to kill me because I said that. But Trevor doesn't have any room to talk because he flopped on his back 12 times sledding the other day. I couldn't run right over that and not bring that up. So Trevor, who just recently had work done on his back, decided to go and ruin all the work that he had done on it. So shout out to Trevor. Hopefully he's all right. That's our terrific facility manager. And Robo back, Trevor Riggins. But yeah, that's Saturday. Friday, of course, we have the red, white, and blue out night. You guys are going to get to wear the red, white, and blue jerseys, so I'm sure that's something you guys are looking forward to. It's always fun to put on a unique sweater every now and then, right?
Oh yeah, and I think probably the American and Czech guys probably enjoy it even a little extra, so that's always cool.
See, that was what I thought was so cool about the military night as well. You know, the first night, not a single guy, natural-born American, was holding it. I think we had 2 Russians.
I think Rels was out there.
So, yeah, Rels was out there the first year.
Oh.
Yeah, before you got here, I think it was we got a Russian, a Czech, a couple Canadians, a Swede. We got a Swede this time. The first year it was Vero,
Sava,
Klinecki, Martin, and Dimitri, I think. So it was a couple Canadians and then some Euros. Here, yeah, we had a Swede, American. You could call Carson a Canadian, but he's
a dual.
He's got dual citizenship.
Yeah.
He's seen enough Bills games to be a dual citizen at this point in person. Which, by the way, Bills, man.
I'm a Giants fan. I'm Bills. Yeah.
Okay, that's a plot twist. I just assumed Bills fan.
No.
I don't know. Zemi's still trying to convince the boys not to be Chiefs fans, but I don't think it's hard to do that after what we saw the other night out of them. But enough about football. Looking ahead to Sunday. It's Kids Day Sunday, so to the one child who's over there on the trampoline, hey, you're under 12, so you get into the game free on Sunday. Just letting you know. You're welcome.
What time is the game?
The game Sunday is at 4:05. Doors are at 3. So little Sunday matinee action. So be good for you guys to get out there a little bit early and get things going a few hours earlier than normal, right?
Oh yeah, always love those Sunday day games. So looking forward to it.
It's a lot better than a Sunday night game.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sunday night games are, yeah. But you know, Sunday matinees are fun, and Zemi, for you as a coach, you know, nothing really changes preparation wise. Just like nothing really changes for the players. It's, you know, the only thing that's different is the time the game starts.
Yeah, it's the first time for us playing 3 games back to back too. So definitely it's going to be adjustment. You know, but again, like I said, it's about the way we start the first game. That will kind of carry on.
Yeah, as he said, Mike, you know, it's you want to make sure that in the first 5 minutes of that game Friday night, you make sure to establish your game, impose your will, and you know, don't give the opponent any confidence and make them know that this whole 90 minutes is not going to be easy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know they got some good players. Steven Klink's another one, along with the Russian guys there and Graz. They're good players. So can't take a shift off against any of them, but especially those guys.
So we will close it with this, as we normally do. Our 3 keys to victory this weekend, Mike. What you got?
I'm gonna say physicality, compete, and execution. Gonna be my 3.
Solid, Zemi.
I'll go along with those.
So you're just gonna copy paste there. Yeah, I won't give mine this time because it's not like those matter. But anyway, yeah, they don't come to listen to me analyze things. Anyways, again, reminders, housekeeping notes. Friday, red, white, and blue out night. Pepsi family 4-pack. 4 tickets, 4 Pepsi products, 4 hot dogs, 4 popcorn, $60. Can't beat it. I don't know what else you're going to do. There's no more high school football to use as an excuse not to come to games. So get here. You have a post-game auction of those red, white, and blue jerseys. I know the 2 people sitting right behind the speaker will be anxiously awaiting the announcement of Brandon Reller's jersey. Or maybe they'll choose a different player this time. No. Literally everyone else is shaking their head no. Anyway. Oh, everybody just changed their mind for him. Anyways, somebody's gonna get Mike's jersey. I don't know what the over-under is, but it'll be a nice, solid win for whoever gets your jersey.
Hopefully.
Zemi's suit, though, not up for auction, nor is mine. I've been asked that a couple times when I've been roaming around during it. Can I auction off my suit? And no. Even if it's just after it's been dry cleaned, I don't think you want it. You pay for the smell of the hockey gear. You don't pay for the smell of the guy screaming up in the window. That's a different story. Zemi's suit, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to think on that. Maybe you can auction off the ugly sweater on Saturday night, though.
It's not a bad idea.
That's actually not a terrible idea. This is what we do in this program. We analyze hockey. We come up with really great marketing ideas. So yes, Saturday, ugly sweater night. If you wear it, Zemi gets $2 off his ticket if he were to get a ticket. Because he'll be wearing his ugly sweater. You should too. Bring your teddy bears. Throw them on the ice after the Bobcats score their first goal. Also, we are going to have Toys for Tots boxes at the door. So if you bring a new unwrapped toy, throw that in the box as well. We'll get all those to Mount Rogers and Toys for Tots as well. And if you are one of the first 500 people in the building, you will get the poster of all of them wearing Santa hats in the holiday team photo. But you have to be one of the first 500 people in the building to get that. With Home Services is our sponsor for that game Saturday night, so shout out to them as well. And one other minor note, beginning Friday night through the end of the second period Sunday, our friends at Aschenbach Automotive, who are the sponsor for Kids Day Sunday, are auctioning off an autographed kids jersey and an autographed pennant. You can start entering that raffle Friday night when the doors open. At the end of the second period Sunday, they'll do the drawing, and in the third period Sunday, both those winners will be announced. So if you needed any more reason to come out to all the games, there's a good reason to, other than the fact that, you know, the kids get in free. But there's a little added incentive. Oh yeah, and there's a post-game skate. So if you want to chase Merc around after the game, you can do that legally. After the opponents chase him around, after he skates circles around the opponents, he'll skate circles around you. It'll be a great time. For Mike Mercurio and head coach Wojtek Semlik and our technical director Kane Akers, I'm Brett Wiseman. It is great to be home. We'll see you Friday night.